The Hayley O Show. Every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Only on balls.co.za.
Over to Nick Sadleir in India now. Let's hope we have some good luck with the connection. It's always a little tough to get hold of him, but always well worth it once we are chatting to him. See if we can get him on the line here. Nick?
Hello, Hayley, Johannesburg.
Hello, Nick in India. Yay, first time lucky this time.
How are you guys?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, great, thank you. Been a busy week.
It has indeed. Yeah. Tell me where you are. You were traveling with your sister last time we spoke to you.
No, she's coming soon.
She hasn't arrived yet.
Which will be fun. And I remember 8 years ago when she came to India, before I ever had, I remember thinking, why on earth would she want to go on holiday in India? And they went, three pretty girls, and had a great fun time. Said they got a lot of attention for being blonde. And I thought, well, that sounds a very funny place. But then when I first came, I just really liked it, and I keep coming myself.
And now you're on your 18th trip.
Something like that.
So you were in Hyderabad. Do I say Hyderabad last time I spoke to you? The diamond capital, that's what I remember about it.
That's right. And today we're in Calcutta.
Okay.
And 2 nights ago here was a phenomenal game. I don't know where to start with what's been going on over the last week. It's been non-stop.
Start wherever you want to start.
Okay, well, the IPL is as brilliant a tournament as it is. It goes on for slightly too long. I mean,
sure.
8 weeks of this really is overkill, but because it's such a big cash generating machine and they love it here so much, the rest of the world just has to put up with it. And one tends to find that it's fun for a couple of weeks, and then in the middle period, people like my mum start complaining that my dad is just watching cricket every night. And if it was a few nights a week, that'd be okay, but every night for 2 months is too long. So it tends to lose momentum a bit during the middle couple of weeks, but this week so much happened that I think everyone is still completely hooked.
I think people in South Africa have woken up to the fact that the IPL is happening now after this week.
Yeah, well, I think Chris Gale's extraordinary innings may have changed cricket forever. He hit 175 runs in 66 balls, taking his team to a total of 263 runs.
Which is the highest ever in T20, hey?
Yeah, sure. I mean, 260 is quite a few runs for a 90 overs in a day of a test match. To think that be achieved in 20 overs just means that all the records that exist can change. And if we look at the highest 50 over score, I mean, remember when South Africa got 438 at the Wonders, and no one could ever believe that 400 was possible. But this innings now makes us think that 500 could be possible. I mean, I don't know where it's going to stop.
And tell me, what do you think it was? Were the stars just aligned? Was it his form's been so good? Was the bowling that poor? Were the conditions right? I mean,
I think a little bit of everything. We've always believed he can do it because he has these innings where he scores as quickly as that, but not normally without getting out. And this time he carried his bat through the innings.
Sure.
And to think that he hit something like 17 sixes in one game. I think the previous record of any team was 18 sixes to be hit in an innings, never mind by one player.
Oh wow, yeah. No, it was great.
He's very strong. When somebody asked him after the game at the press conference what he'd had to eat that day, why he was so strong, he said that he hadn't been able to sleep the night before. He was watching TV in his room all night and he couldn't get any sleep.
Really?
And at 6:30 he realized that he'd forgotten to eat dinner last night. So the night before, this is 6 hours before the game or something, 8 hours before the game. So he called room service and had 1 omelette, 2 pancakes, and a hot chocolate.
And that got him 175 runs of 66 balls.
It did. My sister tweeted that if she could spell, she'd marry him.
Jeez, no. So that was one of the big deals of the week. And the Royal Challengers now, where do they stand in the competition after that?
Well, they hadn't had a great start, but I think they're now joint leaders.
Okay.
Actually, they are joint leaders with Chennai Super Kings, who keep pulling off extraordinary wins. Chennai last night chased lots of runs with Dhoni hitting 50 off the last couple of overs, and Dale Steyn getting on the receiving end of some hard hitting from Dhoni. So the World Challengers are top of the log with 12 points after 8 games. So are Chennai, and then behind them are Hyderabad, then Rajasthan, Punjab, Mumbai, all still in the mix.
Okay.
And then Kolkata Knight Riders are probably on the verge of being kicked out, or not making the semis rather, as are Pune and Delhi. Almost definitely can't make it through.
Okay, so they're the ones that are going to be shafted.
Yeah, so Chris Gale's thing was the one big excitement of the week, and the other was Sachin Tendulkar's 40th birthday.
He started playing when he was 16, is that right?
Yeah, 16, and he's now 40 and still fit and still playing well. But this poor guy just gets so much attention. It's really hard for him. I mean, he's idolized wherever he goes, and he's done so well from cricket. But it can't be fun to have to attend 15 different cake cutting ceremonies for your birthday when you've got to play a match that night.
Is that a fact? 15 cake cutting ceremonies?
Literally 15. Yeah.
I mean,
eat some of the cake at everyone.
He literally wouldn't be able to go anywhere in India. Hey, I mean, he is a legend there.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard, and to be interviewed so many times every day, and to have to be in so many advertisements. There's nothing he can do about it. He just wanted to be a good cricketer. I don't think he loves the flashy lifestyle and the attention, but the two are inseparable now, I guess.
And in terms of retirement, he doesn't want to go anywhere. You'd think he'd want a break from it all.
Well, I think he's just 2 tests shy of a landmark, and so he will probably go for that because he needs to play. So India are playing 3 tests in South Africa next summer they come over. So I have a feeling that he's going to call it quits after that tour. So that'll be one to watch out for. And
then go and retire on an island somewhere where nobody recognizes him.
It's difficult. He's now head of so many charities, and they won't leave him alone in the cricket world. And he runs orphanages, and he's trying to take power to millions of people in villages where there's no electricity. And he's been made an MP, and so I don't think he'll manage to escape.
His roots are entrenched in India.
They just won't let him.
I saw that in Sydney they've got a Madame Tussauds wax statue of him now.
Yeah, that's good. It looked quite lifelike. He's not very tall. You can't hear a squeaky voice in a wax statue,
which does him a favor. Okay, so that was also one of the big events of the week. Anything else exciting happening there on your travels?
Well, there's a little bit of political tension. They don't have semi-finals. They have sort of 2 knockout games and then 2 playoffs. And the first 2 of those are scheduled to be in Chennai, and then the next 2 in Kolkata before the final, which is in Kolkata. And those first 2 games in Chennai, Chennai is the capital of a state called Tamil Nadu, and India is a very, very vast country. And while Hinduism is the main religion, and Hindi is the main language, it's far more complicated than that. Right now I'm in Kolkata, which is on the other side of Bangladesh, almost in Burma, and they speak Bengali here. Okay. Anyway, people are very different across this vast land, and in Tamil Nadu, which is in the bottom right, they're very conservative and don't drink. They eat vegetables. On every beer, it says on the side, there's a warning which says, "Warning, liquor ruins country, family, and life."
But they still drink it.
So the Tamils are lovely people. They walk around in like sort of nappy. The men wear a sort of nappy and a shirt, but the nappy's made from towel.
Oh, like those traditional Indian pictures you see.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how dudes walk around, and people are very friendly. But they have a few gripes. One is that the Tamil population, many of them moved down. They tend to be quite darker in skin color without making any generalization. Okay. Anyway, they moved down, and some people would say maybe a lower caste in the complicated system, which I can't begin to understand. Anyway, many Tamils live in Sri Lanka. And in Sri Lanka, there was a civil war for many years, which ended a year or two ago. And in that civil war, the main population of Sri Lanka, who are Sinhalese Buddhists, were really not very nice at all to the Hindu Tamils. And the Tamil population that wanted to fight that cause was largely wiped out in a horrible civil war by the Sri Lankan forces, which is all sounding very complicated. But anyway, as a result, in Tamil Nadu, where Tamils come from, they are not so keen on Sri Lankans, who tend to be Sinhalese Buddhists. All of the Sri Lankan cricket team are Sinhalese Buddhists, except for Muttiah Muralitharan, who's now retired, who was a Tamil. Anyway, I'm going somewhere with this here. But the Sri Lankan cricket players, and there are some in every squad of this IPL, are not welcome in Chennai. And because there are matches in Chennai, this is a problem. So, for example, last night, Hyderabad would have had two good players in their team who are Sri Lankans playing against Chennai.
And they weren't allowed to, or they refused to play, or they weren't allowed to play?
Well, they were told by the Tamil Nadu government that they weren't welcome there. So they didn't come, and they lost the game last night to Chennai. So that's a bit of a problem, and teams are complaining, look, if we make it to the playoffs,
we want our players.
To have our Sri Lankans in our team, and so could you please move the games, those two games, away from Chennai to somewhere else? So that's a decision that is being faced this week.
Seems like surely they have to do that then.
Yeah, I think they probably will, but again, it's always far more complicated than that. The person who owns the Chennai side, Srinivasan, is one of the head guys on the Indian cricket board, and there's lots of politics at stake here as well.
No, I'm sure it gets very complicated. I'm surprised none of the players want to make a political stand and just play regardless of being told that they're not welcome.
Yeah, I don't know what would happen. I don't know what would happen.
Sure. So they haven't decided if it's going to move away from Chennai yet.
Yeah, they've said that they'll defer the situation. It's still a month until those games, probably three.
And tell me, what's Calcutta like?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's completely mad. It's very different to anywhere else in India. When people say they want to experience the real India and see the poverty that your parents tell you shouldn't go to India because of, then it's probably a pretty good place to start. It was the English capital here before they moved the capital to Delhi a couple of 100 years ago. I had fun walking around a graveyard, an old cemetery yesterday, where the tombstones were all British
names.
Colonial guys, enormous tombs, and literally 230 or 250 years ago. So that was fun, and I think that they're very English in a strange way, and I think because the centre of power in India is not up here anymore, they're neglected a bit by the government in Delhi and the financial institutions in Mumbai, and they speak a different language, and there are very few signs of progress on the streets. You don't see much electricity. My clothes were ironed this morning by an iron which had coals in it.
No way. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that kind of thing's charming and lovely. And although the streets seem very dirty and people are literally washing themselves covered in soap and sleeping on the floor in the thousands.
Really?
I think it's distressing, but there's something quite beautiful about the way people manage to exist happy. Yeah, and everybody always smiles and laughs, and
the crime?
Good learn lessons. There really isn't any.
I mean, people are in dire poverty, but you don't feel threatened walking along the street.
Not at all. And although there's dire poverty, people can almost always eat. You can buy a kilo of rice. If you're poor, you can usually get rice for 1 rupee per kilogram, which is 6 kilograms of rice for a rand.
No.
So
sure.
You don't need much money to survive. And at home, I get the feeling that people strike and don't look for work. Can be lazy and resort to crime if they don't get work. Whereas in India, I think everybody tries to do something, even if you are just a sweeper's right-hand man or a door opener, or everybody just sort of finds their place and gets on with it.
Sure. And the place you're staying now, is that a hotel in the background there, or where are you now?
Yeah.
Are
Yeah,
you living
I'm in a-
are you living at large compared to, I mean, for
I'm in a sort
Calcutta
of
standards?
I'm in a sort of mid-level hotel today. It's about 150 rand a night. It was very funny because I
150
went.
rand. That's nothing.
Yeah, I know that's very expensive. That's quite expensive here. Although
Sure.
it's hard to determine because you can get hotels that are $600 a night, and you can get hotels that really aren't bad for $2 or $3 a night. So
Shit.
it's a very long piece of string. But quite a funny story was this morning I went to gym and I came back and I put the "Please make up my room" sign on the door, and I had a good run on the treadmill. And then when I came back, I went to my room and found that there were two room boys enjoying my air conditioner
Oh,
and watching my TV, and all my bags were gone.
oh.
But I instead of getting angry, I sort of said, "Hi guys, what's going on here?" And and they laughed and didn't really answer, and we each wobbled our heads. And then the guy said, "What's your room number, sir?" So I said 406, and they said, "Well, this is
Oh,
506."
jeez. You're about to like call the cops and get everyone arrested. Okay, well that's
I've done a few embarrassing things. 2 days ago, I went to see Mother Teresa's tomb. She obviously did amazing work in Calcutta, feeding
yes.
millions of people over years. And a nunnery still exists, and you can see her old room and the tomb in which she lies. And there was a kind of church service going on with nuns singing hymns, and you can go in and quietly sit down. It's quite moving seeing these women all singing in a nunnery. It's an existing nunnery, yeah. But I'd only been in there a minute when my iPhone rang on full volume with this terrible sort of alien ringtone.
Oh, yes, bloody tourists. That's why tourists get a bad name.
Nick is embarrassed again.
So there are still places in India you haven't been. You are still finding little hotspots to visit.
This is a huge country, and I tend to stay probably too much in big cities because I'm following cricket games around. But I'd love to get to some of the more remote parts and see some more of the Himalayas and get out to where there aren't any towns and villages. There's obviously lovely nature here.
Sure. So what's your plan for the next week?
I don't know.
That's amazing.
I'm a little bit involved in buying jewelry in Jaipur as a side business, and I may go there and see how my designs are coming along.
You little wheeler dealer over there, hey?
Well, it's just fun. And then I've got a week or so in Bombay, probably before my sister arrives, and then we go to Pondicherry, which is where the Life of Pi zoo was set in the beginning of the book, and that's an old French colony. And,
Okay, I haven't read the book.
There's a large French hippie community there who think that they can save the world and speak French and live in this town called Oroville,
Wow.
which is very interesting. So you really do meet all kinds here.
Sounds like it. Well, still lots of interesting things planned, and we hope to keep chatting to you and keep up to date with your adventures.
Thanks, Hayley. Great chatting.
Cool. Thanks for keeping us updated with what's going on over there, and have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, Nick. Bye. So I think it's quite a privilege to have Nick over there in India telling us what's going on. He's such a seasoned traveler in India that he really tells us about what all the different parts of India have to offer. And he also knows about the politics and the history. So you really get a well-rounded kind of first-hand account of what it's like to be over there, especially when the IPL is going on. So big thanks to Nick for chatting to us. We'll chat to you.
The Hayley O Show. Every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Only on bulls.co.za.